Most don't feel that a GPS is still something that's needed. However, you're here because you know that there is still a place for this type of device. And that's why you're looking at the Garmin DriveSmart 55 and Traffic. I'm Wanderer001. Let's get into it. Starting off, if you're coming from the Garmin universe, then you're very familiar with the form factor already. But for the 55, you are looking at a device that is 5.4 inches long, has a height of 3 inches, and a depth of 0.7, weighing in at 5.3 ounces. The display itself does not actually take up the entirety of the front of the device. As you can see there, it kind of has a chunk here and a little off on the side. You are actually looking at a 4.8 by 2.7 display, and they're going to call that 5.5 diagonal. So it's not going to be the largest Garmin screen out there, but for those of you who have a smaller footprint that you need to fit this into, this could be invaluable. If we take a quick look around on the back of the GPS, you have your large speaker, pretty good sound for the size of it, your power button, your charging port and or permanently leaving it on port, which is still a mini USB, not even a micro USB. That's a mini port. So if you don't have any cables lying around to connect this to your computer to update, that might be a problem if the GPS didn't have Wi-Fi, which we'll talk about a little later. Over here on the side, this is for your micro SD card. If you needed to increase the amount of space that you have on the device itself, it does come with 16 gigabytes of internal SSD storage. So that's going to be a solid state drive. That's pretty much like your smartphones or a flash drive these days, which is more than enough room for most map data, depending on how long you have this for. Garmin will support this device with map for the lifespan of what they feel the GPS should be. I have had in the past a GPS that was about 8 or 9 years old and was still getting map updates. At that point, I needed an SD card, but before that, I really didn't. And the only other thing on the back here is the socket for the suction window mount. And then here you have a little cable management. They're not great, but it's there. It's nice. Something to be considered. Talking about our mounting option, the ball joint for it is really their kind of classic design. It simply pops in and then you lock it down. There's not a lot that they've changed about this. They've kind of scalped it out a little bit to help cut down on the weight compared to previous models, but it's nothing like they have with their GPS dash cam combos. The battery in this is a lithium ion. Garmin states you'll be able to get 1 hour of use out of it, but let's be realistic. If you're using this, especially in traffic and connected to your phone, you're going to want to keep this plugged in at all times. Some of the standout features with this GPS are voice assistant, live traffic and weather, but you need the Garmin Connect app for that. Garmin Traffic, Garmin Real Directions, driver alerts, which are based off of maps, which I'll show you momentarily, and check up ahead, which again, map data, all done through the UI. But before I actually power this on and show you some of that, I wanted to talk about what else you get in the box with this. This is kind of really sparse in what they give you. They give you the suction mount, and they give you a charging cable. That's it. Most of the things that you want to know about are once the GPS is actually powered on. And right up front, we've got the Garmin user interface. This portion on a lot of their models haven't really changed all that much. It's where to, view map, apps, volume, and settings. And then we've got some things across the top here, some of which do require the use of the Garmin app. But there's a lot of information in this user interface, so I will break that out into its own separate video to not make this one unreasonably long. However, what I will show you is navigation using the Garmin DriveSmart 55. Navigation for the DriveSmart 55. On our main screen here, we can select where to, and this will give us some options. Up at the top, this is going to be the location that you are currently closest to. So in my case, Thiels, New York. Over here on the left-hand side, we have a hamburger button. Selecting this, I can set a home location and I can remove my shortcut. Over here on the left as well, we have a arrow that will allow us to scroll through our options. I also can select and drag just like you would on a smartphone. First option is go home. Selecting this will actually take you home. Down here we have our save. Selecting this, it will show you a number of saved locations, and then you can see in there it's got some default ones. If I select the little drop pin icon, I can search near a route, and I could say my active route, my destination, or upcoming exit. Obviously, these are only going to be useful if you're navigating somewhere. Search a nearby place, where I am, a different city, a recent destination, or a saved place. So I can select a different city going to select Gettysburg, and here, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and so forth. Our icon over here, if I select this, will actually show me the destination on a map. So here you can see New York, here's Pennsylvania, and I could say here. Select, and it will search for that location. Coming down, we have our categories. I can search for restaurant, all restaurants by a specific type, African American, British, lots of choices. You can see you can always search right there. And notice now that it's holding on to my Gettysburg location. So that's what I really like about that. We have the ability for shopping, everyday life, gas stations, ATM, parking, rest areas, arts and entertainment, attraction. There's a lot of options. And then always down here, there is the other category, letting you select a different category or related. Next, we have TripAdvisor. These are going to be things using the TripAdvisor map location data. So we can select hotels, all lodging, specific types, things to do, and restaurants. Coming down our left-hand side, we're just going to stick with this. We have Foursquare. Again, this is going to be using the Foursquare database map information. And then here we could see Visitor Center, One Lincoln, Food and Spirits, Gettysburg Bakery, and Sweet Candy Shop. I've been there. Lots of fruit beers in there. Really like it. Next, we have coordinates. This will allow you to, if I select it, input a specific longitude and latitude location, and then select View on Map, and then obviously show you that on the map. And then we have add shortcut. So if you wanted to have a shortcut, you've got favorite searches, categories, and then saved places. Now we're going to come over here and work our way back up. So we have our fuel prices. Keep in mind that some of this you will need to have it connected to your smartphone via the Garmin app. So if you want real-time prices for gas, that needs to be connected to the application. If you don't, you're not going to see that. Selecting back, we have our intersections. I can select intersections in Pennsylvania, West Virginia. So these are things close by where I set this up for. And then here it's saying, tell me the street address of that specific intersection. Next, we have our national parks. Selecting this, again, specific map data just for our national park system. And again, these are going to be kind of close to where Gettysburg is, but as you can see, they're a little further away from where I currently am filming. Coming back one more time, we have our history. History is going to be, well, not history as in search history, but history as in History Channel. So this is going to be map data with this information. So if I select park, again, this is going to be searching based on the information that I inputted for Gettysburg. So if I do museums, it's going to say, here is our Heritage Museum, National Parks Museum, Heritage and Education Center, lots of things right here. And all of these will be identified with the History Channel icon if you ever wonder what particular map data it's pulling from. Next, we have our recent, and this will show you your recent searches. Again, it is totally searchable. And if I select any one of these, it will then begin to navigate to that location. And then finally, we have our address. This will allow you to input a specific address and have the GPS start looking for you. Some of these options can be accessed via the voice commands, which I'll show you momentarily. I'm going to come into recent and use this one as my example. Selecting this, these options will show up for whether you searched for it, whether you typed it in manually, but I can select information, and this is going to say, based on this address and current time, it's going to calculate, here is the route, here's how long, here's how many miles, and then the basic arrival time. Coming down, we have parking. It will let me know, is there any parking nearby? And not so much, but this particular location has on-site parking. I can select weather. That will give me information about the weather for this particular location, only if you have it connected to the Garmin app. Selecting back, we can either save this location to the GPS, we can zoom in or out on the map, or I can select go.
Please drive to highlighted route.
Selecting go brings us to our navigation screen. On my navigation screen right here, you can see I have a traffic advisory. It has the Bluetooth icon there letting you know it's pulling this information from the smartphone itself, and I'm on the fastest route, but there is an 8-minute delay. Before I started filming, it let me know that it was because of slippery road conditions on one of the major thoroughfares. I can hit this X button right here and it will go away. Right now we can see this is my driver icon and then a purple pathway as to which way I'm going. Back there, you can see there is a major thoroughfare, and that's going to be in orange, and then tertiary roads are generally a lighter color. I can zoom in and out on the map simply by selecting these icons over here. I can go back to my home screen by selecting the back button right here. If I select the miles per hour, it's going to let me know how much information has this GPS gathered through all of my driving. Weather icon, direction, and then arrival times. Lots of information in here. If for whatever reason you need to clear this out, simply come up to your hamburger button and select reset all fields, and those will all go to 0. Very important sometimes if you need to clear that data. If I select the arrival time, this will bring up information about my drive. So I have arrive time, arrive destination, distance. These are things that if I hit the plus sign, notice this one's grayed out. If I hit the plus sign, it will add that to the lower right-hand corner. Likewise with the temperature, but the temperature, again, that icon indicates that you need the application in order to actually use it. If I select the 3 dots over here in the corner, I can stop my route, I can edit my route, and I can mute. I also have cities ahead, which will let me know, hey, here are things that are coming up. Those are, again, local to where I currently am. We have traffic, and that's that information that popped up before. Coming back, we have turns. This will give you turn-by-turn directions right there on the side. My one recommendation with that is I would not use a lot of these because, as you can see, they do eat up a lot of the screen real estate, especially on a device of this size. You probably want to stay on this screen right here. And that includes this up ahead feature, which I do appreciate having it, but it eats up too much screen real estate when driving. If you had a larger GPS like I had over there in the corner, it might be acceptable, but it's still a lot of screen real estate to use up. We have our trip data. So this is going to let us know total driving, average move speed, and then moving time. As you can tell, my wife doesn't drive all that much. We take my car a lot. And then I have my phone. Doing that will allow, again, via the Drive app, this to speak to my phone and pull up my contact. If I select my icon right here, this will show me the longitude and latitude as well as the elevation of where I currently am. I could save this, and this is how you would save a home location right off the bat. It lets me know my nearest intersection, my nearest address, and then quick links for hospital, police station, and fuel. Selecting this, I can also do directions to me. What we're going to do is I'm going to select this and then stop my route and then show you that you can, now that we're on the overlay screen, you could see major thoroughfare, and if I come over here, these tertiary streets are a different color, letting me know that it's not a major thoroughfare. And I'm just going to select back, which will bring me back to where I currently am. I can also use voice commands using the Hey Garmin.
Say a command.
And then from here, I could select one of these options. So in my case, I would select find address.
Speak an address in United States.
And there it will navigate to the specific area. I can either select this big option here or say navigate.
Please drive to highlighted route.
And it will start the navigation process. Hey Garmin,
Say a command.
stop route. And that gives you an example of what navigation would look like on the Garmin DriveSmart 55. With navigation out of the way, I will touch on some of the icons up here in case you don't want to actually go to that separate video. The important ones are this one here. This is for your Wi-Fi, because once this is connected to your Wi-Fi, you can update your GPS's maps and settings without having to actually go inside and connect it to a computer. This is very useful unless you're downloading the maps, which can be very large and time consuming unless you plan on leaving your car on. This right here is indication of the Garmin Drive app, which is how you're getting weather data right here. There are some functionalities that require the Drive app in order to have them appear on the screen. My other thought behind this is you can also just pull out the smartphone that's attached to it. There are some things such as calls that you can make through the GPS if you live in an area that requires you to have hands-free device usage. Speaking of that application, there really isn't a lot to look at with the app itself. I had extra functionality with my Garmin GPS dash cam that the app was useful for, but once I loaded the app up and connected it to the DriveSmart 55 here, realistically, there's no other app controls. Everything just kind of sends data to the Garmin GPS. That's not to say that the app is not useful, but just some food for thought. Other food for thought are some of the what I consider downfalls of this GPS, and part of that is the size. I've gotten used to much larger screens, and some of the functionality that you get in navigation kind of really cut this in half, and it's already a very small screen. If Garmin can change the user interface for some of those features, it would be much better. Directions don't quite seem as on point as they were with older versions of the GPS software. I've experienced this in numerous Garmin GPS lately. That's not to say they're bad, but they could be a little better in some of the navigation directions that it gives you. The voice prompt, okay Garmin, when we're brought to this screen, by default has the prompt on telling you how to do stuff. That is really annoying out of the box, and you really have to dig into those menus to find it, which again, go look at it over there to find out how to turn that off, because you will thank me later. Aside from that, overall, the fact that, one, this is probably my 5th Garmin GPS that I've had, and the fact that Garmin supports lifetime maps for the device and free traffic alerts means that this will be a useful GPS for you for years to come. The fact now that they have integrated Wi-Fi and you don't have to plug it into your computer for those updates of software or the map data is just great. And in my opinion, there still is a place for a standalone GPS, mainly places that you don't get a cell signal, or the fact that Garmin has an ecosystem where if you have their GPS and an older vehicle with maybe one that does not have a backup camera, you can buy the Garmin backup camera, pair it with this GPS, and now your old car has a backup camera. For that functionality alone and the size of the GPS, if you're in the market, I can strongly recommend the Garmin DriveSmart 55. If this sounds like what you've been looking for in a GPS, I will have a link where you can pick one up for yourself. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making in-depth videos like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. Still not sure if this is the right GPS for you? On screen now, you'll see 2 other reviews that I've done to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.